Hello, Matthäus. It's great to have you with us. Thank you for accepting our invitation.
Hi, it's a pleasure for me to be here.
Lovely. You know, I was just wondering before you start, looking at your surname, I'm just wondering, is the presentation going to be in Polish or in English?
It will be, unfortunately, it will be in English because my Polish is getting worse and worse from year to year. I was born in Poland, but my parents moved to Germany as I was a kid with 5 years. So I'm now 27 years more being a German than a Polish. So I still can talk in Polish, but I would say after the first 2 beers. Not for a business presentation.
Okay, so we're looking for maybe towards the end of your presentation you will be able to say something in Polish, but right now I will just give you the screen and enjoy.
Thank you. As I already mentioned, it's really a pleasure for me to be here again. I was at Impact Day 5 years ago. This was pre-corona. This was in Warsaw. It was a lot of fun, and I'm really happy to be again here and talk about search engine optimization and to talk about SEO in a cookieless world and why we think that marketing needs SEO more than ever when we will lose the possibility to use cookies. I'm the co-founder and managing director of Claneo. Claneo is a Berlin-based digital marketing agency with a strong focus on international search and content marketing. We are more than 80 experts supporting various clients, various brands in multiple markets, how to gain more traffic out of search engines, how to be more visible, and how to reach customers with the right content and the right intent. And today, I would like to start with a hypothesis for today. And I think what I have seen during the last more than 10 years working in the SEO industry, that SEO is by far the most underestimated marketing channel. So when we talk about big brands, big corporates, we see that they invest a lot of money or a high amount of money into paid ads, into social media ads, retargeting, all paid media. And what we still see is that they have a lack of optimizing their own website to make sure that their own assets, so the website they own, is something where they can interact with the customers and get in touch with the customers. And when we have a look at the move away from the cookie-based tracking, this will make SEO more relevant than ever because we will lose the possibility of running ads based on users who interacted already with our website. And also, this will be quite a challenge. But let's have a look about the why. Why do we think that it will be more relevant to focus on SEO, and in this case, in focusing on the content part of SEO, when we lose the possibility of having cookies for tracking or having cookies for retargeting ads, for example? What we will see is that it will be quite hard or even harder to follow a customer across digital channels to get a full picture of their needs, behaviors, and intent. So when we lose the cookie, we will not be able to see what they already viewed on our page. Probably there will be a new possibility to track, but for sure it will be not that granular as it is today. So it will be much harder for marketeer to use the right allocation for the marketing budget within all the digital marketing channels. And why that's the case, we will see that we won't be able to follow the customer's journey. And when we have a look at the customer's journey, we see that it can be complex, but it also can get narrowed down to the classic AIDA model from the 70s, right? So we have an awareness phase, we have an interest phase, desire phase, and at least at the latest stage, we have the action, the last interaction with our client. And client or potential customer. And what we see is when we have a look on all digital marketing channels out there, and we are using different channels with different approaches, probably also with different goals, we see that different channels may assist a customer and guide them through his customer journey to an action. And this could be buying a product, subscribing for a service, or even in a B2B context to write an email or to get an inquiry for a B2B company. So we have a lot of different channels, and all the channels have somehow an impact on the customer's journey. when we lose the track of cookies and when we will not be able to track the user as granular as we use it today, it will be quite difficult for us to allocate our budget. And in this case, probably there will be contextual ads focusing on in the future on publishers when we will lose the possibility to track our users with cookies or to use third-party cookies. And what we also see is that it will be quite hard to run ads on particular platforms, or we have to rely on the possibilities of targeting within Facebook, within Google, within other, let's say, platforms where we have to run ads or where we can run ads. And why will it be harder for digital marketing? Let's talk about this in a second. Because I think without cookies, paid ads are becoming increasingly volatile and unreliable, especially when we talk about retargeting ads. So in the past or today, we can target the user, we can get the information we need once he visited our website, so we can use cookies to retarget him, right? In this case, for example, if we would sell products online and we see someone already interacted with a blog post or interacted with the product detail page, we can retarget them. And especially when it comes to e-commerce, retargeting is still a really important pillar within your digital marketing strategy. But what about SEO? So how will SEO, search engine optimization, be impacted by the loss of a cookie? To be honest, we don't think that it's that a strong impact when it comes to SEO, because SEO focuses on relevant content and doesn't rely on cookies and remains unaffected by the shift in privacy laws. Because what we do in terms of SEO is we focus on the consumer needs, we create the content and we publish the content on our own asset, and that's our brand website or our company website. So the tools we were using in search engine optimization, they aren't depending on cookies. So they don't depend on cookies today. They will depend on cookies in the future. So when we start to work out a strategy to understand what are the customer needs, how we can target them, what kind of topics and solutions they are looking for, we can use on one side the Google Keyword Planner, which is basically created to run ads, but there you get a lot of information about what kind of queries you should target, how often they were searched on a monthly basis, what kind of ideas you can get out of a dedicated topic. So this is completely not cookie based, so we can use this data as, let's say, as a proxy to the user. Then we have the possibility, once we have traffic on our website, even if the user does not accept our cookie consent banner, we still have the possibility to use the Google Search Console to get an understanding for what kind of keywords and queries is our website display or gets our website displayed within the Google search engine, and where do the users click. So it's not cookie based, so it's the pure data we get out of the search engines from Google, and it's not depending on cookies. And the third topic we can rely on is to use third-party SEO tools. So we have a lot of different tools in Polish marketing, or in Poland there's Claneo, in Germany there's Systrix, Searchmetrics, Ahrefs, SEMrush, a lot of dedicated SEO tools which represent a dedicated tool industry within the search engine optimization field, is focusing on providing data which is not focusing on any cookie data and is completely independent. So when we have a look on the 4 key areas of search engine optimization, first of all, what we need to take care of is to start with a strategy, to understand what potential customers are interested in, what they are looking for, what kind of problems and issues they may face. Then we have to make sure our website is optimized. We have a mobile-friendly website. We have a fast website. Last year, Google announced a new ranking criteria, ranking factor, the Core Web Vitals, which guide us to a better user experience. So user experience and putting the user into focus of all optimizations on our website is the core of being successful in the future. And also when we talk about content, content will be a key pillar when it comes to SEO success, because we have to provide the right content in the right format based on our target group, based on what they are looking for and what kind of interest they have. And the fourth area is the off-page area, where we have to make sure that our own content gets shared, that our content get backlinks, and that we make sure that the content we create is getting mentioned, is getting linked from, let's say, authorities, or let's say at least from your target group, or from influencers within your niche. And this all is mainly like the core of SEO, and it's not depending on cookies. So that's why it's quite important to understand. It's more focusing on the user need. And also here, we can only be successful and succeed in a competitive market when all areas are fully optimized. So it's not the case that we can have a good strategy, having good content, but doesn't take care of the technology of our website. It will not pay off. So once you start to optimize for search engines, you need to make sure that all 4 areas are really optimized, at least I would say 80%, to be successful. But still, the biggest asset you can have and the biggest asset you can invest in is for sure the content. So content is an essential part of good SEO strategy. And that's also something what is the biggest investment in terms of marketing budget, because good content needs to be created by native speakers, by ideally people with a content background, and there is no shortcut. So what we see is that content can help creating relationships. So it should be helpful. It should help customers to solve problems. It should be engaging, let customers interact with the content. It could be an infographic. It could be a video. It could be also an interactive format like a calculator. It needs to be useful. So it should satisfy the current search intent of your customer or of your target group. And it should be informative. So provides relevant information to customers. And if you take care of those 4 topics, you will be for sure more visible, and probably you will not rely that much on cookie data, because you can already get in touch with your potential target group based on what they are searching within the search engine. And the search engine is a really good proxy for potential clients. So when we have a look for dedicated topics, let's talk about kitchens. Kitchens, quite difficult product. You need a lot of information. Probably it's not a product you will buy online, but probably you will inform yourself online. And when we have a look at kitchens and what kind of questions potential customers may have, we have to answer all of them. So in this case, if we would be a provider for kitchens, we should also have content about when to start planning, when you should start planning the kitchen, where you can put the toaster within your kitchen, what kind of appliances do you need. So all the information you would have while researching the right kitchen for your flat, you should get answered by a brand online. And that's quite interesting, because when we go back to this consumer journey and we say search can be, or search can address the consumer within different stages, we will see that attention, interest, the first 2 stages, are more there to create demand. So we do create content which creates demand for our product, for our kitchen. And then we have the design action phase, where probably someone is already aware that they need a kitchen, they need to buy a kitchen because they move to a newer flat, to a bigger flat, whatever. So there we have to cover demand. And after someone bought the kitchen, either online or offline, we still can think of the satisfaction and conviction, where we talk about customer relationship management, right? So it's not part of SEO, but still the content we create there can be relevant for our SEO strategy. Because when we have a look on different content we can create, we could think of a magazine content where we have more inspirational topics, where we have the newest trends within the kitchen industry. So what kind of technology is there? What kind of different materials are there? We have category and product content, which also helps the user and the customer to understand what product fits best to their needs. And then we have service content, probably, which is not part of the buying path and the buying process, but still helps us to keep the relationship to our customers. And this is more or less what we would think from an SEO perspective is really relevant for other marketing channels, because when we cover the different questions and the different problems of a customer, we will learn much more about them than by just running ads, or just by just getting the data out of the customer journey with different touch points. So, for example, when we talk about magazine content, we can talk about what are the best kitchen ideas for small apartments, when to plan a kitchen, when you should order a kitchen. So probably you are in the early phase of your research process, of your buying process. After a while, you understood there are different brands. There's a Nolte Kitchen, which is a well-known German brand. There's IKEA, which is probably a cheaper solution, but you have to build or to set up the kitchen on your own. Then probably you have decided to go for Nolte Kitchen and are looking for specific models out of the product portfolio. So you are on a product detail page, and after you bought the kitchen, probably the kitchen is already installed within your apartment, you are looking for service content where you want to know how to maintain a kitchen, how to clean a kitchen, how to clean the surface. So all these questions are questions consumers may have during the customer journey, and all these questions is something we can start to answer. And I would say in the pre-cookieless world time, we could also use this content to set the first cookie and to use it for retargeting, so that we know someone's looking for inspiration. Probably they will buy a kitchen within the next 2 to 4 weeks. So this would be much easier. Nowadays, I would say we focus on the user itself and try to somehow to get interact with us to drop a first party cookie that, for example, they register for a newsletter, they register for a login area within our page, that they can configure the kitchen, etc. So nowadays we would not rely on cookies, we would more rely on getting user data within our CRM. And when we have a look on those dedicated stages, we also see that we have different goals we are focusing on, right? So the inspiration phase would be more, we are focusing on branding. We want to position our brand within the mind of our customer and potential client or consumer. We talk about performance, where we want to make sure there is a potential appointment a consumer may enter, or they already buy a kitchen online, which is not that often, but they for sure will go for appointment. Or we want to have a retention with the customer, that they probably buy service products or even a professional cleaning, whatever. So we see that we have different goals when we talk about the customer journey and the content journey they may follow. And also when we talk about different marketing channels in the digital marketing, SEO is applied almost on the whole customer journey, because we can target people who are looking for inspiration. We can target people who are looking for services, or even for kitchen or kitchen brands. And that's the same for different marketing channels. So I would say everything which is more focusing on the action, on selling a kitchen or having an appointment, is more in the action and desire phase. Part of the category content and product content. And when it comes then to display and contextual ads, then probably display ads, native ads, or even content marketing and social media can be the right channels. So we see that content is really important, and nowadays we can talk about more a content-driven search engine optimization approach. But when we have a look where this content approach comes, it's always part of content marketing. So nowadays, what we see is, once you have done your housekeeping and you have your optimized website, you will start to focus on keywords which are far away from the conversion, but could be part of your content marketing strategy. So on one side, we have SEO as a search engine optimization, and we have content marketing. And nowadays, it's more like a search-driven content marketing approach, that we use the search data, which is cookieless and not depending on cookies, to use it for content creation and to use it to reach out to your customers in an early stage of the customer journey. So this is my hypothesis for the future, that content can be the new cookie, because we get a better understanding where the consumer is right now in his consumer journey. And it might help us and brands to better understand the needs in a cookieless world, because we know where they started to enter our page and where they started to read our content. So I think that cookies are only the end of the marketing industry, operating mysteriously behind the scenes. So it will be more, let's say, we won't be that evil and follow the user within the internet. It's more the case that we will be there when he's looking for us. So either it's a contextual ad within a publisher, so we know they are looking for kitchen ideas on a publisher page, so we will get the ads and he will see the ads, or he starts to search on Google, or we can target them with the search behavior they have on social media or within dedicated platforms. So brands that continue to prioritize the consumer and continue to focus on content will continue to thrive. That's my hypothesis. So when you put the consumer into your focus of your daily work, you will be for sure successful. And when we have a look on SEO and the loss of cookies, it will not affect SEO that much. So I'm sure that SEO will stay important and remain important as a digital marketing channel. It can still be applied across different stages of the customer journey. In the early phase, at least, as in the action phase, in the purchasing phase. SEO focuses on consumers and create relevant content based on the search intent. So it's highly relevant for the customers when they start to search for products and for information and inspiration. And content can be created or can be used to create a relationship with consumers and provide login opportunities for brands to build on relationships, so that we have the first party data instead of having or running just ads within different networks and different websites. So we try to build our own asset, our own website on our brand website to make sure we can cover users through the whole customer journey based on what they were looking for and based on the content they were looking for. And that's why I think even if we will lose the cookie, we will still have potentials to target users. We will still have potentials to track them. It will be different, and maybe it will not be that granular and that detailed like today or like it was in the past. But SEO stays and remains really important and help us to achieve better results and to be visible whenever someone is searching for information and inspiration on Google. Thank you very much for this short heads up. I hope you get some inspiration about how SEO may change and why SEO is still important or become more and more important for your daily work. And if you would like to get a second chance or a second opinion to talk to me, feel free to send me an email. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. And I'm happy to answer any questions which may pop up in the chat or you may have from the moderation team.
Matthäus, yeah, there are a couple of questions. Thank you very much for the presentation, spot on and timely. We will fit in a couple of them, I'm sure. So the first one goes as what is the future of SEO positioning after user tracking restrictions change? A return to keywords and search phrases? Question mark.
Yeah, I would say the main focus of SEO is to answer a demand. So if we have a product and we know people use search to use Google to search for this problem, for this product, SEO still remains really important. And as long as we have the possibilities to get search volume data, to get different search queries, to combine search queries to dedicated search intents, as long as this is possible, SEO will remain nearly the same. Because even if we don't have, for example, the possibility to use Google Analytics as a tracking solution, we still can rely on different SEO tools to define a strategy and to define, let's say, a content map for our website. So in my opinion, SEO, even if we will lose the possibility to track users, I don't think so, because there will be another solution, probably cookieless, but still possibility to track users. But it's not the case that we will need to track the user when it comes to SEO. we will not understand how good a user converts, or how high the average basket is, or how the customer lifetime value is. So this is maybe something which gets more and more difficult. But to build up a strategy based on the search intent, on the user's need, on the keywords, still remains the same.
There is another question, so I need to stretch myself a bit to read it. How to approach targeting ads for short live content that appears in Google News? Google Search Console data doesn't have real-time data. And what's your opinion on that?
Yeah. So when it comes to Google News optimization, or even Google Discover, it's still something what is based on the search behavior. So, for example, Google Discover. So there aren't any tools, as I know, that give you insights about Google Discover. And when it comes to Google News, there are 2-3 different tools out there. Treesolute is a German solution. Newsdashboard.com is, I think, a US solution, which give you data because they are scraping the search result pages. So this is something where you can start to optimize your news if you are a publisher based on dedicated search queries. So the problem is you don't get any accurate data from the Google Search Console because you have a lag of 3 days between the data and so the day-to-day and the data you get provided. So you should think of getting third-party data in terms of a news dashboard or Treesolute, which is a provider, to get a better understanding of the search behavior of news. And they pull the data from different sources and provide us this as a service. So that's something I would take into account when it comes to optimization for Google News as a publisher.
Matthäus, I hope we will fit in one more question. How to track the customer's shopping path without cookies? Now we know what interests the client has, what website he or she visits.
Yeah. So when we can't track the user with a cookie, there are different technologies which may come up, like a fingerprint, like the browser ID, and so on. So I'm sure that there will be enough companies and enough, let's say, brands to come up with a new tracking solution. In my opinion, if you have the possibility to get the user interact with your website and, for example, register on your website, that you can follow him on your asset, on your brand website, on your company website, then it makes sense to have this, like to have a newsletter registration, a lead formula, somehow to log in to track your user within your website. What it will not be possible or hardly possible is to track the user through different marketing channels when they don't log in. So that's a good question regarding how tracking will change in the future. And I'm sure there will be solutions, but you don't know which kind of solution will be the new standard. So it's still something what we have to wait for. Also, yesterday, Google announced that they will get rid of Google Universal. So Google Analytics 4 will be the new standard. And for sure, they will somehow set up a new solution to not to rely on cookies, but still to be possible somehow to track the user and see how they interact with different, let's say, phases or different content pieces you may have, regarding direct type-in traffic, regarding mailing, regarding SEO, regarding paid ads and social media ads.
Matthäus, thank you very much. Allow me to say goodbye in Polish. Dziękujemy za Twoją prezentację i mamy nadzieję...
bardzo.
Do zobaczenia.
Do zobaczenia. Cześć.
Cześć.